How's it going, everyone? My name is Matt, and welcome back to Matt's Crypto. I am joined today by a very special guest, Mariah Monetize. We're going to have a awesome money talks today, talking about all things crypto, some NFTs. It's going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, say hello.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, Matt. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So I actually came across your channel a couple days ago. I was just surfing, surfing YouTube and looking up things for my Celsius versus BlockFi review, and I happened to come across your channel and found you had like a really great review on the two of them as well. So it seems like you've been in the space for a while. So I guess my first question is, how did you get into crypto?
Yeah, this is always kind of a funny question to answer because I hate to say it that my friend told me about one of the crypto Ponzi's back in like 2016. And so that was like my first introduction. I did not know about Bitcoin prior to that. And so it kind of just gave me, the opportunity to explore crypto more and realize that I should be buying the asset, obviously, versus just buying into these Ponzi schemes. So, it was 2016 when I bought my first Bitcoin. And then at the end of the year, I basically had this, intuition to just dump my entire savings account into Ethereum when it was like $7.
Oh,
And
wow.
that turned out to be a ridiculously good decision. I didn't really know what I was doing. And so, yeah, obviously, once you see your crypto portfolio doubling and tripling day after day, then I just made me hyper focused in the space. And that's when I just, dove into the rabbit hole and tried to learn everything there is to know about crypto.
Wow. So your first investment was really big on Ethereum then.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
So $7 Ethereum, and you put your entire savings account. Was it literally the entire savings account, or just most of it?
Honestly, so at the time I had a food concession business back in California and it was my off season. I'm pretty sure it was December. And the cash flow was like very slow during that period of time. I didn't have a ton to put in, but literally like I had whatever I had in my savings account, I dumped all of it into Ethereum.
Wow. Okay. And then how long did you hold on to that for? You still have that Ethereum, or you kind of bought and sold over the years, or?
I bought and sold over the years, and what I can say is that I would have been better off just holding the entire time and not trading back and forth into other altcoins and in and out of Ethereum and Bitcoin. I should have just held. It would have saved me time, and my portfolio would be in a better position than it is today, actually.
Yeah, that seems to be the common theme. I'm relatively new. I've only been in the scene for really been in the scene for about a year or so. So you definitely have a couple years on me, but it seems like that is the easiest move. Don't even worry about it. Just hold on to it, and you're probably going to beat the market anyway. So
Absolutely.
that's pretty good. So you also live in Puerto Rico. You said you were running a California business, and then at some point moved to Puerto Rico. What was that decision like?
Yeah, so for me, it was I kind of just wanted more freedom in my life. I had the food truck business, which, my entire summers were just working in the food truck space. And once I started, buying Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I was like, wow, the amount of time that it takes me to make the money that it takes for my crypto portfolio to increase is like ridiculous. So I'm like, okay, I think I could actually live off of the crypto that I had at the time. So I decided to sell my business, move to Puerto Rico, enjoyed the amazing tax benefits that Puerto Rico has to offer, the 0% capital gains. So I moved here. I visited for like 3 weeks before I decided to make the move. And then I came here with like, knowing not a single person, three
Wow.
suitcases. And I thought for sure I was only going to be here for 3 years. I thought it was going to be like kind of a short term thing. But after being here for now 3.5 years, I don't see myself leaving anytime soon.
Wow. So you moved there not knowing anybody. Do you go back to the States at all and see family and stuff like that, or you're there just most of the time?
Yeah, it just depends. So, I have a huge, huge family back in California and a lot of just roots and friends there. So I typically go back like 1 or 3 times out of the year, like typically for the holidays. So yeah, I have to always make at least one trip a year back to California for a few weeks.
Puerto Rico is a pretty big scene for crypto folks. Can you explain a little bit more about like why it's worth going to Puerto Rico for someone who's involved in crypto, or even just someone involved, financially in like the stock market or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there's a few components to it. The crypto scene is there's always meetups constantly. There's a lot of people that are in the space here. So, if you want to be like very connected and surrounded by people who are in the cryptocurrency space, Puerto Rico is a really great place for that. And then on top of it, there's a huge opportunity when it comes to capital gains. So, it's a 0% capital gains. When I applied, There was also a $5,000 annual donation required. I believe they've increased that to 10, and they've also increased the filing fee to 5. The problem with the programs is the government is always changing them. They're always changing the cost to, get in the program, maintain your decree. They're even talking now about changing it from 0 to somewhere between 5 and 12%. So it's something worth looking into. You definitely have to, crunch your own numbers and see if it's worth it for you. Puerto Rico isn't a super cheap place to live because of all the people moving here. Rent and the price of homes has, gone out of control, just like other places. So you're not really getting, that really cheap cost of living. It's really not super cheap to live here, but I think it's for any person in the cryptocurrency space, there's this element of freedom that Puerto Rico embodies that's really, really special. And I know that most people in the crypto space really want that. So that's just like one of the things that really draws me to this place is, the freedom aspect of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like, they're starting to kind of catch on to the everyone moving there for the zero capital gains tax, especially for crypto. When you're, heavily invested, or you have a lot of crypto, that adds up to be quite a bit of money that you lose on taxes by being in the States, especially in California, right? So
Exactly.
Awesome. That's good to know. So how long have you been investing? Was crypto your first investment, or have you invested in the stock market at all, or anything other like that?
I want to say when I was like 18 or 19, I used to do sweepstakes when I was younger. So I'd like win things on the radio station. I'd win like cash prizes, cars, trips, things like through like, online sweepstakes as well. So the very first big thing I won was my first year in college. I had won like a $13,000 cash prize. And my first ever experience with investing was I just went to the financial advisor at the bank because, that's what I was advised to do by like family and friends. And I think I put it like in a moderate, an investment account that was moderate between, like stocks and bonds. And I think that grew maybe like 20% or so, 20 to 30% over like maybe a 3 to 5 year period. Kind of all a blur now looking back. But that was my first ever experience investing, just handing over some money to the financial advisor that comes to the bank once a week or whatever. And but then once I started my business and I had, money and I didn't want it sitting in the bank anymore, my first thing was cryptocurrency. And honestly, I didn't invest until stocks later. And I've gotten to the point where like I'm all out of stocks and I'm like all in on crypto when it comes to my investments.
That's awesome. Yeah, you definitely got in early. So you said you bought Ethereum first. You bought some Bitcoin. What does your portfolio look like now?
Yeah, so my current portfolio is about 65% Bitcoin, about 25% Ethereum, and the rest is altcoins. I have probably about 10 different altcoins, but the majority of the altcoin percentage is made up of Link and Dot.
Awesome. How do you feel about Dogecoin?
So I'm not gonna lie. When I was back in crypto, when I first started in crypto back in 2016, I had millions and millions of Dogecoin, and Poloniex. When Poloniex was around, I remember holding it on Poloniex, and I just at that time, honestly, I was just throwing darts at different projects and seeing what would happen. But what ended up happening, after the bull run when it ended in 2017, early 2018, I just felt very overwhelmed by how many different coins I had and how many different exchanges I had. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to condense this. I'm going to sell off all these projects that don't mean much, and I'm going to just like mostly go into Ethereum and Bitcoin. Hindsight 2020, there's so many different coins that would have literally gone up like hundred or thousands of percentages if I would have just held. But yeah, I don't hold it anymore. I think it is good to like introduce people into the space and hopefully they'll be led to like Bitcoin and Ethereum and other projects as well. So I guess you could call it the gateway drug. And I guess if that's the purpose that it serves, then, and it gets people more interested in the space, then I'm okay with that. I don't have like this crazy hate towards it or anything.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's definitely introduced a lot of people into the space, and although I don't think it's not the best investment to go for first, it's definitely worth looking into. It's definitely got some movement behind it now. So That's interesting to know though that you own a bunch of altcoins, and then you basically just described what happened to me in the last like year. I think that's kind of the cycle of anyone who gets into crypto. You start probably with Bitcoin because most people recommend that first, and then you start exploring things like Ethereum and altcoins, and then before you know it, you have like 20 altcoins, and you're like, dang, this is a lot to maintain and handle, and I don't know which ones I really want to be in. And then you kind of dwindle back to like, let's just stick to the core coins that I actually care about. That's kind of what I've gone through in the last couple months as well. So it's funny that you say that because it seems like that's a common theme throughout the crypto universe. So what would you say is your strategy or your long-term goal with crypto? Is it purely just to build financial like success, financial wealth over time, or is there any other goal you have with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's given me freedom, and I'm trying to just maintain that freedom over time. Whether that's earning like interest on, dedicating a certain part of my portfolio to, platforms like BlockFi and Celsius. But my goal is to just like never really have a real job ever again and just maintain, as much of a retired life as possible just so I can enjoy life. So, I mean, honestly, like that is what one of my main driving factors is. And obviously I'm just so on board when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, of just the decentralized aspect and getting away from traditional banks and governments, and just not being tied to those systems that are not serving any of us, and just kind of spreading that and teaching other people that it is it is possible. You don't have to work until you're in your 60s or 70s, and that you can just enjoy life so much sooner than that and not be just so tied down by your job that you probably don't currently like. So my thing is, I just want people to enjoy their life as much as possible. And I know that crypto and Bitcoin is the easiest and the fastest way to get there, I think, for most people, because obviously over the last 10 years, it's been the best performing asset. So there's, nothing, there.
So do you currently live off of your crypto earnings and your kind of passive income? I know obviously we talked about BlockFi and Celsius for a little bit. Your interest that you earn on your crypto, is that what you're living off of mostly, or do you have a job part-time or anything like that?
Yeah, so basically that's one of my sources of income, is that. And then in the last 4 to 6 months, actually my YouTube channel has been a really great source of income.
Really? Okay.
For example, the Celsius referrals that I have been earning, I could actually live off of just Celsius
Wow.
referrals alone. So, and they just changed it from $40 to $50.
For
Like
a
I
little
was
bit,
just
yeah.
looking yesterday, and I was like, in one day, like $280 in Celsius rewards. It's pretty awesome. So,
That's
and that's
great.
just one component of it. So I would say my next focus, where I see the most opportunity next for me, when it comes to spending my time, is probably into my YouTube channel, and getting sponsors and continuing with the referral links and YouTube AdSense. And I think there's just so many different ways to monetize a YouTube channel. So that's what I'm probably relying on most at this time. And then I actually also started a car rental business here in Puerto Rico in April. So that's another income source for me as well.
Awesome. That's great to hear. I mean, that's one thing, yeah. The Celsius referrals, I was surprised. I have a very small channel. It's brand new, right? But I have been doing YouTube for 12 years. That's kind of my shtick. And I was like, wow, I actually have a decent amount of referrals from, a couple hundred views, which is like nothing, really. So that's incredible to hear that you're doing well with that as well. I mean, we both obviously recommend Celsius. I watched your video. I made my own video as well, and it's definitely the in the lead, I'd say, as far as BlockFi versus Celsius goes right now. So, the shameless plug, I gotta say, if you guys want to use the promo code down below, check it out. Definitely would recommend it. But let's keep moving forward here. Do you own any NFTs? And the space has been absolutely blowing up in the last week or two. CryptoPunk specifically has sold a ton as far as capital goes in the last couple days, actually. So, do you own any NFTs? And are you interested in that space?
Don't own any NFTs. I love the idea of it, especially coming from like my minimalist mentality. But what gets me most excited when it comes to the NFT space is actually like how musicians are utilizing it. And just like, for example, there was one artist that I was listening to an interview with, and basically, the top 5 bidders would get like backstage access to every single one of his shows for life. And then anytime they'd want to sell that access, to anyone, then he gets 10% of 10% cut of that sale. And so I love what it's doing for the music industry. That's the part that excites me the most. But honestly, I don't own any NFTs at this time.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think there's definitely a ton of different applications for it. It's, in my opinion, still somewhat early, but I think there's a lot of promise in that space. I've just recently gotten into it the last couple days, like really, really dove in. It's crazy. There's just the thing that I love about the crypto space is no matter how much you think you know, there is so much more you don't know. There's just so much to do in this space. It's ridiculous. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. But I guess let's just kick it off. Let's end it with one thing here. What's one reason you would recommend to someone new that's watching this video to get involved in crypto? Just give me maybe one reason, maybe two, if you think there's two really, really important reasons.
Yeah, so I think what makes me realize how big Bitcoin and crypto could be is the simple fact that governments are going to be purchasing cryptocurrency. They're going to be holding cryptocurrency eventually. And the fact that the US government holds 10% of the entire amount of gold made me realize that eventually they're going to want to start buying crypto too. And when the people in control of the money printers also want to start buying Bitcoin, that's when the price is just going to go absolutely out of control. And you don't even consider just the US, but all other countries. So when you take that into consideration, I think that helps people realize just how big the actual space can be. I think that's one point that makes you realize just how big it is. And when it comes to protecting yourself, I think Bitcoin is the best way to protect yourself from inflation. And with what we've already seen, the actions of the government printing money, we already know what they're capable of, and it's probably not going to change anytime soon. So for people's protecting their own wealth, I think that Bitcoin is the number one solution for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I would definitely agree. There's a lot of money being printed right now, especially in the last year, and Bitcoin's one way to maybe protect yourself from that, So one more thing I do on this show, though, before you leave, I ask everyone to pick one coin that I'm going to purchase $100 of right now, just a small amount, and see how it performs over the next year and see which one does the best out of all of our guests. So do you have any coin in mind that you think is going to be really high performing in the next year?
I'm going to go with Link.
Okay. I like that pick. I'm also a fan of Link.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. Where can they find you?
Oh, yeah, you can find my YouTube channel, Mariah Monetize. You can find me on Instagram, Mariah Victoria. And yeah, those are where I post the most often.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely check her out on YouTube, guys. She's got a great channel, does a lot of great videos as well. But thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you
all, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All next time. Have a great day.